what I ended up with, as you heard in the intro, is this. It's just 2 layers made from Serum, and I'll have this project file and samples of this and the MIDI and the presets in the description below, so you'll be able to get to them. But the first layer is this. So what that is it's Serum, like I said. It's this ARP white noise. No, both oscillators are turned off, but it's this ARP white noise. And what I did, I set it just standard how it comes, just when you open up Serum. And then I put this bandpass filter on it with a very high resonance, and the cutoff is set to key tracking. And what key tracking does is it means wherever you play a note on the keyboard, the filter frequency will move to match that. And then I just tuned it using one of the oscillators, because obviously not every setting is in tune. But yeah, key tracking is just the same as like how your usual oscillators are set up, where they're key tracked to the notes. So what that does is, yeah, you can see it moving a little bit with all the notes. And then the resonance being turned up gives it that tone that you hear. So that's just what I did there. Not much else. I didn't do anything else in Serum. Besides this, I did put an envelope on here to make it a little bit more of a pluck, like how you would put an envelope on the pitch of an oscillator to make it more of like a hit. I did that same thing here. It's just very small. It's just very short. And then I put this LFO on here to make it more buzzy, because in the original I heard it kind of had this effect that's used a lot in hardstyle leads, where you put a very fast LFO on the pitch of your oscillator, just a little tiny bit. If you see in the matrix here, I have it set to, 1 is the amount there. But what it does is it moves it super, super fast. And since this is what's controlling our pitch here, then I put it on there. So without it, it sounds like this. So you can hear when I bypass it, and then when I turn it back on, it makes sense. In the original track, I heard that, so I figured I'd put it on there. After that, I didn't do too much. I just added this little EQ to cut out some of the low end and cut a little bit there. And then I have the Haas effect, which I actually spelled wrong here, funny enough. And what the Haas effect is basically it splits your signal into left and right, and then you delay one of them just a little bit, sort of like this, so it moves ahead a little bit, and it creates this wide stereo signal. And the way you do this is you just duplicate your track or make 2 audio effects. You make an audio effect rack and make 2 chains within it. You pan one completely to the left, one completely to the right, and then you put the simple delay on, you link them, you set the dry wet all the way up and turn the feedback off, and then you set the time to sync, and then you put it to a low setting, like 15 milliseconds, and it expands the stereo image. And then as you move it up, it gets more wide. You can test this out if you download the project file. I won't go into it too much here for the sake of time. But after that, I just put this reverb with a very short size, a short decay, and a small dry wet, and the reflect all the way up, just to make a little bit of reverb, but I wanted it to be very controlled, because that was what I heard in the original track, which is this very controlled, clean reverb. So after that, I worked on the bass sound. The sound is 2 layers. It's that one, which is like most of it. That's like what most people will probably recall from the track. But there's also this little low-end layer under it. It sounds like this. Now, I didn't really nail this one as close as I could. I think if I nailed this one, it would really sound exactly like the song. But the more important thing was the high one, and I got this one close enough that I can still explain it to you and what's going on. So what I used was this duck organ wavetable, which is actually one of the ones from Massive. It's this synth that everybody used to use back in the day, back when I first got into production. And around the time this track came out, and I think it's what they used in this, to be honest with you. But that just is, it's almost kind of like a dubstep-y wavetable, to be honest with you. It's like very like dirty and distorted sounding, and it's got a lot of harmonics. But it sounded good for here. Obviously, we're not modulating the wavetable position, so it's fine. But after that, I just put on this high-pass filter with a lot of resonance, high cutoff, and the drive up. And that's just adding a little bit more of like a resonance to it and making it a little bit more interesting, I guess. I don't know, not much to say there. It's also cutting out the low end. So yeah, that was the purpose of that. And then in the effects tab, I added a bit of distortion, just the default tube one. And then I added this low pass filter, which is doing a pluck. So it's like got an envelope on it, goes very quickly, which is this one. You can see that moving down there. And yeah, that's just to make the sound a little bit more controlled. Without it, it just felt a little too like off the walls. So after that, I added these two a bit warmer saturators, just to sort of fatten up the sound a bit more and give it some more harmonics to work with. Because I wanted to do a bit of creative stuff with the EQ. I put this one on and cut out the low end and made a little cut and a little boost there. And then I put this one on, and what I did was I listened to the track and then just sort of listened to this sound and EQ'd it to match what I was hearing in the track until I got it as close as I possibly could. So that's the purpose of these two EQs. Then I put this compressor on to sort of stretch the sound out, because I heard in the original track it was sort of plucky like this, but it also had like a lot more of, it was a lot more stretched out. Like I said, it was kind of like longer sounding on some of those longer notes. So I used a very long release and a very short attack and a low threshold to make that happen. And I used the same compressor on the group as well, which I'll show you now. So on the group, I don't have too much, but what I do have is pretty important. Similar to the high sound, I have a reverb with a very short decay and a short size, or a small size. And that's just adding a little bit of space to everything, but not so much that it's like uncontrollable. After that, I have a similar compressor to the one I have on the bass, because I wanted it to do the same thing as the bass. I wanted it to sort of stretch the sound out and like pull it when it gets to those long notes. So that was what that did. After that, I have this EQ just boosting some highs, and this one doing this. And it was the same thing as what I said with the bass, where I just listened. The reason I put these two on is because I was listening to the track and just sort of EQing these to get them closer to what I was hearing. Finally, I put on this glue compressor, just sort of tie it all together. And it was similar. I was hearing in the track, there was still a little bit more compression that I could hear that wasn't going on in mine. So I just added this one to do a little bit more. So altogether, that sounds like this. So it's not the most perfect recreation, but I think it's the closest one I've seen on the internet. So I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will have the MIDI, the presets, samples of this, and the project file in the description. Please like and subscribe and comment, and maybe share this if you learned something. Thank you so much, and I will see you again in a couple of days with another new video.